Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jasmine Bryant, and I'm the Pipeline Mentoring Institute Fellow for the 2021-2022 administrative year. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We're excited, and we're going to go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Next slide. Wonderful. Good evening, everyone. Well, evening, afternoon, early afternoon, depending on where you are. East Coast, West Coast, or the Midwest. It's so wonderful to see you all, so many new faces, so many familiar faces. I hope you all are doing well this Sunday afternoon. We are so excited to share with you what our AMEC is all about. We've been virtual for 2 years, so we're excited to return in person, Orlando, Florida. We have been working so hard for the past year to plan a robust, exciting conference for you guys. So we're excited to share more with you this afternoon. And if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to insert them in the chat, or we'll have time afterwards at the end. Oh, and I didn't fully introduce myself. My name is Miracle Rogers. I'm the National Pre-Medical Board member of the Student National Medical Association. I oversee our entire pre-medical arm, and I serve as your advocate on the board of directors and the executive committee and as a national committee chair.
Thank you, Miracle. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Truczillo. I am a third year at the University of Texas at Austin, and I also work with Miracle on our National Maps Committee as the Vice Chair of Regional Affairs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Jasmine Bryant. I'm the Pipeline Mentoring Institute Fellow, and I also work with the National Maps Committee and Community Service for pipeline efforts, both in K-12 and for our MAPS pre-medical students. So thank you once again for being here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vanya, and I graduated from Kent State University in 2020. I am one of the MAPS convention planning coordinators.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matiza. I am the other MAPS convention coordinator, and I graduated from Wesleyan University this past May, and I also serve as the Region 7 pre-medical representative.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. So I'm just going to give you all a brief background about AMEC. So what exactly is AMEC? AMEC is our annual medical education conference, and it's planned by the executive committee of the Student National Medical Association and our MAPS convention planning, as well as many of our MAPS members. We all work hard to execute our pre-medical forum. It's a slate of workshops this year. It's 36 just for pre-medical students and 149 total that you all can attend, either on the general track, PRI, our Physician Research Initiative track, medical student track, just in case if you're interested in other things, you're not only limited to the 36 workshops on the pre-medical track. And this provides a very unique opportunity to network with Black students and physicians across the country. So our AMEC this year, you can check out the video there once you have access to the slides later, but it's taking place in Orlando, Florida at the Rose and Shingle Resort, which is absolutely phenomenal. We've been working on site this week to finish and tie all our loose threads in the Orlando resort site. So we're very excited about that. But just want to remind you that the early bird registration, it did close on January 31st. The next deadline is March 20th for the $207 for pre-med associate registration. And after, on the 15th, after that, it will increase. But I do want to let you know for the hotel block, it's actually filled and we've had to keep extending it. So if you have not registered at this time, if you're not only registered, but signed up for the hotel at this time, it behooves you to do it now, and I encourage you to do it now. The nearest hotel after that is about 20 minutes away. Our resort is all inclusive, so all of the convention site locations, all the resources that you need throughout the whole conference experience is right there on site, and you also have access to the pool and all the fun amenities available. We have a lot of evening events that will take place there, but basically it will be harder for you to to transport back and forth or commute if you take a bus or something like that. So we want to make sure that you're there. So please sign up for your hotel now. You will not be charged until 72 hours before. So I know I've gotten several emails from students. They're still waiting on funding from their institution or from their employer or their place of research. You can go ahead and put your own personal card down now and then switch later. But I don't want you all to have any worries or apprehensions about this. You can just go ahead and reserve your hotel now and then go ahead later and switch to your school's information or your preferred method of payment. Next slide, please. Okay, so the workshop specifically for medical students, as I mentioned, is our pre-medical forum, and then our AMEC 2022 schedule. I've sent out emails about this, but you can find that on our website. And then exciting announcements about the track. So our opening plenary speaker is Dr. Brooke Mobley, and she is the Associate Medical Director of DaVita Kidney Care, also called Optimum Care, one of the major hospitals and hospital systems in Florida. And she works out of Tampa, Florida, and oversees all the divisions throughout the state of Florida. She has a robust, amazing history with not only MAPS, but the Snma as our former, one of our former historical MAPS liaisons, as well as a past chairman of the Student National Medical Association. And then our keynote speaker, who I've been working really hard to get, she's so excited to meet you all, is Dr. Contessa Metcalf. I don't know who on here is Team Married to Medicine. I know me and Matisa were screaming. She's just absolutely amazing. And she's really excited to meet you all and work with you all, especially since she's walked the same walk that you all have. So this is going to be a very exciting, intimate session. So we're very excited about that. And then something special that I wanted to bring back this year is the ceremony that takes place. We have not had this in 2 years, so we'll be honoring all of our recent graduates. So if you graduated from undergraduate school, a post-baccalaureate program, or a graduate school, you will be honored here at this banquet. So please let us know. I sent out that email on Wednesday. I'll continue sending it out, but the absolute deadline to request your stole is March 4th. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. It takes 22 days for that to be processed and get them embroidered and printed for you all. And it has to go out the same time as the medical students and award. So that I can't push it past then. So please do it now. I just want to make sure we have everyone's information documented, because we will be very excited to honor you and reward you for all of your hard work. And then last, we have 35 other workshops. But the last one I want to highlight is the Blueprint Academy that I brought back this year. It's a 4-hour workshop where you'll be able to go through a section of the exam, and then Blueprint will be showing you all the secrets and tricks of the trade, basically how to approach the most complicated question stems, unique strategies to avoid common answers or common pitfalls of answering questions on the MCAT examination. So we're very excited to work with Blueprint, Dr. Metcalf, as well as Dr. Mobley to execute this phenomenal pre-medical forum. So here is a link there if you have any other questions. And the topics to be addressed include the following: tackling the complexities of implicit bias and microaggressions in medical education, the impact of violence on public health, and the importance of physician advocacy in healthcare.
So these are some of the events that were held during the virtual AMEC 2020, which was transitioned from an in-person conference to a virtual platform due to COVID. And so there were a lot of really great events and initiatives that occurred during that time, such as the virtual mask off and the AMEC 2020 virtual blood drive. There were game nights and happy hours, and there was speed dating and mentoring and karaoke. So just a lot to offer at AMEC, both in person and virtual, and just a lot to look forward to. So this is just some of the events that we've had in the past, and some of them will continue for this current in-person AMEC. Next slide, please. And then this is also from virtual AMEC 2021, which again was actually also supposed to be in Orlando, but because of the pandemic, it was transitioned to an online platform. And so it was just as a robust program virtually as it was in person. We still had plenary speakers and numerous workshops for pre-medical students. And in the middle, you can see their different program tracks. And so there are lots of tracks that students can take advantage of, including the general audience one, medical student, obviously the pre-medical forum, 4th year and beyond, which is for medical students in their last year or who are doing additional degrees, the Physician Researcher Initiative or PRI, Health Policy and Advocacy Forum, the Pipeline Mentoring Institute or the Pipeline Initiative, which I'm responsible for, which covers students in K through 12, more specifically high school students, which is who we usually engage during our national conferences. There's different hands-on clinical skills such as sawbones workshops, and then a new track that was introduced last year, wellness. And so as Miracle previously stated, you can attend workshops in any of the general program tracks. You don't have to just attend workshops within your specific track unless otherwise noted. So for example, there are many students who are non-traditional pre-medical students who know the different knowledge and know the different things that are delivered in the other workshops for the pre-medical forum that are more and better suited to younger pre-medical students, those who are perhaps an undergrad or those who are career changers and are trying to figure out what they need to know in order to be successful pre-meds and applicants. So as a pre-medical student, you can go to the medical student forum and attend some of those workshops. I know when the conference was in Atlanta several years ago, I went to like the 1st and 2nd year medical student workshop, which is phenomenal. And there you can attend different tracks and get different experiences. So you aren't limited just to your track. And so want to make sure that students understand that there is a wealth of workshops and a wealth of programming that you can take advantage of. Next slide. So I want to talk about the top 10 reasons that all pre-medical students should attend AMEC. Number 10 is the community service. Snma students use AMEC not only for personal and professional enrichment, but also to reach the local community through service. And this is a flyer from the community service projects at AMEC 2019, which is in Philadelphia. And there were numerous community service projects that people could get involved with throughout the conference. We're also planning community service events for this conference as well. So lots of ways to not only get personal and professional development at the conference, but also to enrich the local communities that you're in, which is a hallmark of any of our national conferences. We always want to have some type of community service or community engagement in the area that we're in. Next slide. Number 9 is medical school application preparation. So learn the nuts and bolts of the application process and speak with representatives from AMCAS and ACOMAS who will be present to answer any of your technical questions about the process and the components of the application itself. So at every AMEC, there is always representatives from the AAMC as well as ACOM who do these workshops about AMCAS and ACOMAS, walk students through the entire application, lets them know what they need for each part of the application, how the verification and submission process works. So any questions that you might have about applying to medical school and some of those very technical questions about how the process works, they will be there to answer those questions. Next slide. Number 8 is the research forum. So during AMEC, pre-medical and medical students can present their research at the Dr. Wilbert C. Jordan Student Research Forum and compete to win top poster presentation prizes. And this is a really great way to display your scientific acumen and build your research and activity profile for medical school. And so again, there are different categories and the top students in each category win an award. And again, if you're applying to medical school, and especially a research heavy medical school, this is a really great opportunity to add this activity to your resume and add it to your work and activities and really highlight your excellence in research. So I believe the submission for abstracts is already closed. But for future AMECs, if you are doing research and you want to present it, which I highly encourage you all to do, I would definitely suggest submitting your abstract for the research forum. Next slide, please. Number 7 is medical school tours. And so medical schools in the host city give tours to pre-medical students. And this is a really great way to explore a school's facilities and learn about the resources a school has for students to successfully matriculate through medical school. And tours can help you determine what you need in a medical school. So during those medical school tours, you get an opportunity to talk to medical students. Sometimes you also get to talk to some of the faculty and staff that work at the institution. You get to see the facilities, what they have to offer, and really ask questions. And during those tours, it really helps students figure out what they need in a medical school. because different students have different needs, and it helps you figure out what's the most important thing to you when you start to apply to medical school. And the technical host Snma chapter is the University of Central Florida. So that would be who you guys would probably take a tour with, since they are in the host city of Orlando. Next slide. Number 6 is mock interviews. Prepare for the interview trail by practicing and getting feedback from medical students and medical school admissions officers. So again, especially if you're getting ready to apply to medical school, this is a great way to figure out your interview strategy and figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are in interviews and how to improve before you actually sit down for an interview. Next slide. Number 5 is connecting with other MAPS members. And AMEC is a great opportunity to meet MAPS chapter members from your region and from around the country. And you can speak with MAPS leadership from different chapters and exchange ideas about how to run your chapter more effectively. I know in years past, there's actually been a workshop where like the MAPS chapter of the year has given a presentation, and also you will be around each other, so you get to bounce ideas off of each other about how to better run your chapters. There's also transition meetings and leadership transition meetings for students who are leaders or who are either transitioning into or out of their roles. So there are numerous opportunities to connect with other leaders in MAPS chapters across the country. And then also if you're a non-traditional pre-medical student, like many of us are, you can also meet other students who are on the same pathway as you. So AMEC is a really great opportunity to connect with other pre-medical students at all points of the pre-medical journey. Next slide. Number 4 is inspirational key speakers. And come get motivated to become a clinically excellent, culturally competent, and socially conscious physician by listening to the inspiring stories of a diverse group of opening speakers at the opening session, as well as the Board of Directors Banquet, or BOD Banquet, which is the closing event for AMEC, and the Pre-Medical Forum Lunch and Bloomfield Lecture. And as Miracle mentioned, one of the keynote speakers for the Pre-Medical Forum will be Dr. Contessa Metcalf, who is a family medicine physician. I think she's also in occupational medicine as well. And she's also a star of Bravo's TV's Married to Medicine. Next slide. Number 3 is leadership development. So during the conference, there's also opportunities for you to strengthen your leadership skills by attending, like I mentioned previously, the regional meetings, officer transition sessions, and the annual Snma Leadership Academy, which is usually by invitation only, or that you have to usually apply to be accepted into. You learn more about the various leadership opportunities for pre-meds and how you can get more involved in Snma. And there's also usually a session that's just for pre-medical students to tell them how to get involved with leadership throughout all levels of the Snma. So there's a lot of opportunities for leadership enhancement and development at the conference as well. Number 2, find mentors and network. So during the conference, you're able to speak to doctors, medical students, and admissions officers to explore career paths and learn how to become a competitive applicant. And I know many pre-medical students are always asking how to network, how to find mentors, how to find other students who are on the same pathway. And AMEC is the best place to do it because you're all in one concentrated space with the same goal of getting into medical school. And it's just a wonderful experience to be able to talk to different people at different stages of the pre-medical journey and really get solid advice. And I will tell you, as someone who's attended 6 AMECs, everyone there is very willing to help you and very willing to guide you and mentor you. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to take advantage of. So finding mentors and network is just definitely a key component of AMEC. And finally, our number 1 reason to attend AMEC is the pre-medical forum workshops and recruitment fair. So again, as Miracle mentioned, during the conference, there's the pre-medical forum workshops for students that address different topics that are important to pre-medical students, like how to get into medical school, like so you want to be a doctor, how to find research, how to do well in MCAT, what the application process looks like. So many different workshops and so many different opportunities to really get good and strategic advice on being a competitive applicant. And during AMEC, you can also attend a variety of workshops to help you become a competitive medical school applicant and learn about different medical schools by speaking directly with over 160 current medical students and admissions officers at the schools you're interested in. And again, we get medical schools from all over the country who pay to be exhibitors and talk to you about their institutions and why you should come there. During the recruitment fair, there's usually also a medical student from that institution that will talk to you about the student aspect of being there. And the admissions officers will tell you what the schools have to offer. Usually they'll tell you what kind of stats they're looking for as well, that will make you competitive. So again, it's a really great way to get your foot in the door and really get some insider information in a way that's more difficult outside of these types of recruitment fairs. So definitely, if for no other reason to attend AMEC, the pre-medical forum and workshops and recruitment fair is definitely the top reason. Next slide. And so now we'll talk about financing AMEC.
All right, so for financing AMEC, the registration fee for pre-med is $207. Airfare, depending on where you're located, it can be up to 500 or more, but 500 is usually average. I know from Northeast, it's like 250. Hotel for 4 nights would be 556 if you were to choose the Snma discounted blocks at Rose and Shingle Creek. If you were to share it between 2 people, that would be 278. And if you were to share it with 4 people, that would be 139 for all 4 nights per person. The total would come up to at most 1,263. And depending if you were to share a room with 2 or 4 people, that would come up to 985 or 846. I know that the Rose and Shingle room blocks for the SNMA is all booked. So you could book some of their regular rooms, which I think the rate is $215 per night, which is a little expensive compared to the $140. Also, there aren't as many hotels nearby our conference site. I think the next closest hotel is about 20 minutes away from Rose and Shingle Creek. And they all have varying prices depending on where you were to pick, or if you were to pick an Airbnb. Next slide, please. And then also with food. So a lot of almost every day breakfast is sponsored by different institutions that you would be able to go and get free breakfast at while networking. And then for lunch and dinner, depending on what you would eat or how much you would budget to eat, you would also include that in the budget. But the meals that would be covered by SNMA would be 1 from the pre-medical luncheon and 2 from the banquet that's happening Saturday night. For the attendee registration, the pre-med early bird was at $180. Right now it's $207 until March 16th. So if you are planning to go to AMEC, please register before that, or else it increases by almost $60. And that's only if you're an SNMA member. If you're not an SNMA member, that's regular is $305 until March 15, and then after that is $355. So I think a SNMA membership for pre-med or post-bac is about $20 to $30. So I definitely recommend that you register to be a pre-medical member, an SMA member before you register for AMEC to save money.
Right, and additional things to look forward to is just the, again, like the atmosphere. We're going to be around a lot of like inspiring underrepresented future doctors and doctors in the healthcare world. So that environment, and also the discussion around the mistrust in the Black community regarding healthcare, discussion around surrounding racism as a public health crisis, opportunities for personal statement review and mock interviews. So be sure to bring your personal statements. If you are to attend that, like that workshop that we have, that we're going to offer, bring your personal statements, bring your CV, bring your resume, all of that good jazz. That way medical students and admissions people will be able to, provide you good feedback on that. mock interviews as well, and a lot of networking opportunities. And we will also, so all the pre-medical students, once you register at AMEC, we're going to be giving you all a pre-medical handbook that was created like specifically for pre-medical students, being that the handbook will be a layout of all the workshops that are directed for pre-medical students rather than the general AMEC track, just because that can also get confusing. So this handbook would also include like networking tips, information on how to get involved in Snma, tips on how to create your elevator speech, like how to, those social networking skills, tips on how to start those conversations with your peers. So that will be available to you guys as soon as you guys register at AMEC. And it'll be on PDF form, so you guys will access it through a QR code. Sorry, Jonathan.
And then Crystal, are you here with us?
Yes, I am.
Or Jasmine, sorry.
I don't know, it's fine, but I can go ahead. So we're now going to move to the student testimonials part of our meeting. We first have Crystal, who is a post-bac student at the University of Texas at Austin, and you've attended AMEC in 2019 in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Excellent. And then next slide. And then we have Stacy, and Stacy, you can introduce yourself.
Wait, I was wondering, wait, did Crystal want to talk about her experience during her AMEC at Philadelphia?
Well, I was going to actually ask them questions about it.
Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, both of them. So yeah, we'll get their perspective on all of the AMECs that they've attended previously, if that makes sense.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. And then Stacy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy. I hope you're all doing well today. So as you can see here, I am a rising medical student. I'll be starting this fall, and I've attended a lot of AMECs, I think 5. Within the Snma, I currently serve as the MAPS post-bac coordinator and the program manager for the National Future Leadership Program. So thanks for having me.
Excellent. So let's go ahead and get started with our panel. So this is to both of you. What was the first AMEC you attended, and what was that experience like? And Stacy, we can start with you.
Yeah, my first AMEC was in Atlanta, Georgia. So great city, right? It was when I was a junior, I believe, in college at UConn. And so that was a fantastic experience for me because I can only speak for myself, but I was a little bit lost in this pre-med process. I had no idea what I was doing. I felt a little bit jaded, a little bit tired. I was just like, these classes, I'm coming off of organic chemistry. Like, what am I doing? What do I do next? And so going to AMEC, I literally, it was like an enlightening experience. I came out so motivated. I came out ready to go, charged, ready to take on the rest of the semester, because it really provides you with everything that you need to feel like you can do this, like you were supported, that there are people here for you, that even though we're small in numbers as underrepresented individuals, we're still here and we're ready to help you get to where you need to go. And so that was a fantastic experience for me. It was my first time really seeing Snma as a whole, learning about who Snma is, how to be involved, what I can do to gain my leadership skills, how I can grow. I can talk about this forever, so I'll end here and let Crystal go.
Wow, yeah, Stacy's almost said everything, but I guess from my experience, I would definitely say that my first AMEC and my last AMEC, because that was like right before the pandemic had hit, it was like walking into Disney World. Like, there were just so many opportunities to do so many different things, meet so many different people. And like she said, it really just motivates you, because I think it can get really hard in undergrad and you kind of forget why you're doing what you're doing. But then you're gathered with a bunch of people who have the same background as you, share the same experiences as you, and are kind of doing this for like more or less the same reasons. And it just, I don't know, it inspires you. But yeah, my first AMEC was amazing.
Excellent. So in your opinion, what is the best part of attending AMEC? And Crystal, we can start with you.
I would say the best part, wow. I guess a unique experience for me was I had never really, I feel like as pre-meds we hear so much like, oh yeah, DO, also apply DO, but there's such a lack of exposure to DO. But at AMEC, I was able to like meet with DO students and talk to DO schools, and that was like really awesome.
Excellent. Stacy, for you, what was in your opinion, what is the best part of attending AMEC?
It is so hard to say. I mean, even as Jasmine was talking about the 10 reasons why you want to go to AMEC, I was taking notes because I was like, wow, I was able to do this and I was able to do that. Yeah, I did that. If you really go there motivated to learn, to be a part of it all, you can really grasp a lot. So it's hard, but I think, wow, it's really hard to say. I think I would say leaving feeling motivated. That motivation, it's like, it's the end of the year, y'all. We're jaded with that spring semester of classes, like we're trying to get to May, right? And so you come back literally empowered. You will get whatever you put into AMEC, but you will always come back empowered. There's just so much, and it's just so beautiful to see Black excellence, right? It's beautiful to see physicians of color. It's just beautiful to see that, just see everything in a way that I think isn't done anywhere else. And so leaving feeling empowered and just seeing all of that in one place is probably the best part for me.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, Stacy. The feeling you get going to AMEC and leaving AMEC is electrifying. It's nothing short of electrifying. It's the most inspiring thing and electrifying thing you will ever experience. Being a pre-medical student and being around all of these students of color, all of these medical students of color and physicians of color and medical schools that want to recruit you, it is a unique experience that does not happen elsewhere. And it is every single AMEC has been amazing, and it's been different, but each of them has been amazing. And I will say for myself, probably the recruitment fair is one of the big highlights, obviously. The board of directors banquet is probably the big hallmark event. It's the closing event of Snma. It's also where you get to see all of the graduating medical students. They get to walk down the aisle of the banquet hall with their Snma sashes, and they're announced. So they're announced what school they attend and also what residency they got into, because it's always after the match. So it's just one of the best experiences. And if you're talking about motivation, it's all around you. So definitely, again, AMEC, the entire conference is amazing, but those are some of the highlights. Stacy, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because you said the banquet, and it just immediately, so one of the things I am so excited for this year that hasn't been done in the last few years because AMEC has been virtual is regional chants. So essentially we have our 10 regions within the SNMA, and each region comes up with their own version of a chant for their region to just like show like, oh, we're the best region out here. Don't mess with us. Honestly, if you're from region 7, seventh heaven, welcome, hello. That's the Northeast area. And so that is a really great experience. And you present that during the banquet. I actually had a video of our chant, but I couldn't upload it onto this, so that's unfortunate, but hopefully I can share it in some other way. But those chants, like, you work with your region. So you're working with pre-medical students, physicians, medical students, and you just like, you belt it out with pride. So some people have done like a Wakanda related, Black Panther chant, some people take songs and remix it, but like, you just feel so much pride being a part of the SNMA, being a part of your region to just chant it. And I'm just so hyped that we're in person, because I hope that is coming back, because I'm just ready to shout out like Region 7, we're the best. And so yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Absolutely. Our next question is, describe your most memorable moment from attending the conference. And Stacy, we can start with you.
Sorry, the most
memorable moment.
Oh, the most memorable moment. I will have to say, and I think I have a picture of this in the next slide. It was AMEC 2018. I went to San Francisco, and I was with my region, and we just had a regional meeting. And then a bunch of students were like, "Hey, let's just go to the to the San Francisco, that's not what it's called, what's it called? The Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, it's called the Golden Bridge. So we, you know, a couple of random people, we didn't know each other. It was a couple medical students, a couple pre-medical students. And we said, yeah, let's just go. You know, the conference is packed, as you can see from the schedule. There's so much to do, but you know, when you want to take a break and like sightsee, definitely do that, because you have some time and you can always come back. And so we went and we took some photos. We did like, I think that's when Black Panther came out. So we have a video of like doing like the, you know, the X thing or whatever. And it was just a great experience because I got to know some of those medical students that day. We became friends. They've become my mentors and they've been guiders throughout my whole pre-medical process. To this day, I still speak to many of them and we don't live in the same state. And I can call them both mentors and friends. And it was just that organic feeling that I was able to get. So that was a really memorable moment for me.
Excellent. Crystal, what is your most memorable moment from attending the conference?
I would say my most memorable moment was, I remember sitting at the banquet, and I always like to describe the banquet like to people as like almost like sometimes it feels like a prom for med students because everyone just gets super dressed up and everyone looks beautiful. But I was sitting there and I sat next to this random girl, and we introduced ourselves, and she actually happened to have done a summer program that I was going into that summer, and she did it last summer. And it was so crazy. Like, she's from New York, I'm from Texas, and we're in Philadelphia, and we both are going to do the same program. And she was able to just give me like a lot of advice on the program, you know, tell me what to do, what not to do, how to make a great impression, and all these things. And we ended up following each other on social media and becoming friends. And it was just something I never predicted that would happen, but it was my most memorable thing because, like they said, Amec is such an amazing network opportunity on a professional level and even on a personal level. So.
Excellent. And so for those of you who attended virtual Amec either last year or in 2020, what was your experience like? Do you feel like Snma adjusted well to hosting the conference in a virtual format?
Yeah, I would say that they did a great transition into a virtual format, especially since I remember the first one in 2020. I think within a few weeks they had to shift, and so I definitely commend the people who worked hard on bringing a virtual Amec. But I think they did a great job. We still had the system that we use, I can't remember the name, but we still had a community aspect where we were able to talk about or talk in the chats and build community. And then there was a great like networking tab where you could click on it and then just be paired with someone randomly from another region, another state. And that was an opportunity again to build community, to build mentorship, to build friends. And I remember I used that feature actually, and I met a third-year medical student at University of Pennsylvania at the time. And she's someone that I reach out to if I ever need someone to talk to a panel of students, or if I have a question about something. She was a great resource that I met just using that virtually. So the virtual aspect provides a lot of great resources. I think they did a really great job with it. Even though, you know, it's not the same being in person, you still get a lot out of it. It's what you put in is what you're going to get out. And so if you come in saying, this is what I need, like you're going to get that. I always came with a goal with Amec. I said, you know, this year I'm going to find one new mentor, right? Or I'm going to learn about the financial aid process or understand the application process. Think about the things that are concerning you, where you are in your situation. What do you need from them? And then go to Amec and go for it. And if you can't figure out how to do it, just ask someone. Everyone is there to help you.
Excellent. Crystal, did you ever attend a virtual conference, or were all yours in person?
All of them are in person.
Okay, great. Our next question is, so this would be to Stacy. If any of you attended both the virtual conference last year and an in-person conference, what were some of the differences and similarities between the two types of conferences? And I think you hit on some of those briefly.
Right. So yeah, the similarities, again, you're still building community, you're still building connections, you can build mentorship as well. And I think that's a huge thing. for me, like, again, I'm speaking only from my experience, but I would say that one of the things that I really lacked in my undergrad was mentorship and guidance. And so from AMEC, that is exactly where I found it. I met physicians that have written letters of recommendation on my behalf for medical school. I've had mentors that I reached out to after I took my first MCAT, so I found that within just going to AMEC and keeping those connections. And so I think virtual or in person, you're going to gain that. And there are great sessions. We had fantastic sessions, both in person and virtual. So you'll definitely get that. In terms of the differences, not too much, just a couple of sessions that Miracle mentioned that we are bringing back, for example, our pre-medical forum and kind of like the director's banquet, where we get to congratulate in person a lot of our future physicians and rising medical students, and having like that regional chant competition there. But even though it was virtual for the last 2 years, I really gained a lot out of each session. Like Jasmine said, every AMEC is different, but you're going to get something out of it. But I am definitely excited to go in person.
Absolutely, yeah. And I would say the differences between virtual and in person, I will say the workshops are still very robust. The workshop offerings are great. They've been great both virtually and in person. I think also at the conference, there are usually different social activities for pre-medical students as well as medical students that are just amazing. Usually, I believe for the virtual AMECs, there were different virtual activities that all attendees could take advantage of. So there'll be a little bit more of that hands-on in-person type of programming and engagement at the conference. So those are just some of the differences. But again, AMEC, both virtually and in person, is amazing. Our next question is, why should students go to AMEC? And Crystal, we can start with you.
Okay, I think students should go to AMEC to really get exposure. I think as pre-meds, we often spend a lot of time like on the internet, Googling things, hearing from people, but I think it's different to go to a conference like AMEC and talk to people with real life experiences that have similar backgrounds as you. And it's just a very motivating experience. It is very enlightening. You learn so much, man. You learn so much. So if anything, it's a great learning opportunity, and everyone who has the opportunity to go should really go.
Agreed. Stacy, why do you think pre-medical students should go to AMEC?
Well, I think you all hit it on the nail with those 10 reasons. Like I said, I was taking notes, and I've literally been able to participate in everything. Community service. I presented my research at one point, which was something I had never done before, something I was super nervous to do. I think I did it with Matiza as well that year. So that was a lot of fun. And, you meet a lot of great people. You build your leadership skills. So the Leadership Academy was something that's mentioned. That's coming back this year. Applications are coming out shortly as well for that. So we're excited to put that program on. And the pre-medical forum is like the best thing ever. And it, regardless of your pre-medical status, you can get something out of it. So if you have over 160 medical schools there, if you're an undergrad, that's an opportunity to get your name out there, start learning about the process, building connections. People are willing to give you their cards and say, reach out to me. So you just have to reach out to them. If you're a post-bac or master student, that's a chance to learn more about post-bac and master programs. See, how can you discuss your post-bac and master's programs to enhance your application, right? If you're an applicant or reapplicant, it's great as well, because you can say, hey, I'm in the application process and, I applied to this school and I was waitlisted, but, I'd love to chat with you a little bit more about the program, or, what can I do better to strengthen my application because I'm reapplying? So regardless of your pre-medical status, you can use that to your advantage. So again, I just recommend, before you go to AMEC, make sure you reflect on what your needs are, where you stand. And if you're not sure, then, make it a goal to find a mentor who can help you guide, or who can guide you throughout the AMEC process.
Absolutely. I agreed with all of that. And then our final question is, what's your advice for students attending their first conference? And Stacy, we can start with you.
I don't know if my advice is is good advice. My first thought was like, it's okay if you don't sleep, because I really don't sleep during these conferences because I just, there's so much. But I just say, you know, and enjoy the conference. You know, there is so much that you can get out of it. Don't be stressed. There's a lot, the agenda alone, when you're just looking at it, there is so much there, but just enjoy the conference, enjoy the social activities, enjoy getting to know other people, and just make sure that if you feel unsupported, you're getting the support you need. And then, like I said, and I've said this a couple times, but before you go to AMEC, I recommend make a goal, just one goal, not a super huge goal or anything, just something you want to get out of AMEC. Again, if it's finding that mentor because you feel like you don't have it, make that a goal so that you can talk to people between sessions, during sessions, after sessions. If it is to, you know, build other pre-medical friends because you don't have that in your college, make that a goal. I met so many people at regional and national conferences that I still talk to this day. I met someone at a regional conference. We met once and I said, hey, you want to go to the national conference with me? And we went together as well. And we've been friends ever since. And so just make yourself one goal that you think you want to get out of AMEC, and then and work towards pursuing that.
Absolutely. Crystal, what would be your advice to students attending AMEC for the first time?
Yeah, I would second Stacy's advice about having a goal. I think that's really important going into any conference, honestly, so you have an objective. And I would also say, do not be afraid to put yourself out there. Even if you feel scared to speak, still speak. If you have a question, raise your hand. Come with questions, please. And I think someone in the chat said something about like printing out your personal statement. I would also say, you know, print out your resume, just print out things that you can give people. So when you have a connection with them, they know how to reach out to you. But do not be afraid. I know it can be intimidating and you might be behind someone who sounds like super smart while they're talking to the admissions counselor, but it doesn't matter because you have to start somewhere. So even if the first conversation doesn't go the way you want, maybe the next one will. There's 160 schools, like, so you have 160 chances to work on your conversation. But yeah, don't be afraid, don't be scared, and speak up.
Absolutely. And I would add, make sure you look at the schedule before you go, so you know exactly where you want to go. Sometimes they'll have sessions during like the pre-medical forum, and maybe you have the information from those already, so you want to go to the forum or you want to go to another workshop or something like that. So I would say make sure you look at the schedule and know where you want to go and what you want to do while you're there. Also, let's get in the habit of learning how to talk to people, and it can be very intimidating. I remember my first AMEC and how, you know, shy I was a little bit, but they're all there to help you, and you get practice, like work through the nervousness and the awkwardness, because it's going to help you get to where you want to go. And I would also say is that when people offer you their contact information, and they will, because AMEC, again, they're there to help you, and people will offer their contact information, be that pre-medical students, medical students, admissions officers, physicians. Make sure you follow up with them. Because there's no point in going through all of the work to get to the conference and to network and then not actually networking afterwards. So make sure that you follow up, send a thank you email to remind them who you are, and thank you for talking with them, and to continue the conversation, because that's how you get mentors. That's how you build relationships. I think we talk a lot about networking. We don't talk about the fact that networking is essentially relationship building, and you don't build a relationship by just talking to someone once. You have to invest in the process of talking to them over time. And I've heard many students who've attended AMEC who have mentors and have, you know, people who can look out for them on their behalf, because they've built those relationships. They've emailed them periodically to say where I am. They've emailed them and say, this is what I need help with. So make sure that, you know, you are upfront about what you need, and as well as investing in those relationships moving forward. And so thank you guys. Thank you, Stacy and Crystal, for your testimonials. We really, really appreciate them. And I know it's gotten a lot of students excited to attend AMEC. And so now we're going to transition to the top 10 reasons to join SNMA with our National MAPS Vice Chair of Regional Affairs, Jonathan Truczillo.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Crystal, for giving us the insight, and y'all getting me excited already all over again. I'm just like, oh Lord, this just brings me back to like all of those experiences and really highlighting the reasons why I should join the SNMA if I haven't joined already. But just a few of the reasons is really that you build a community, like we've already just highlighted throughout this presentation, that once you're like in the SNMA, you have over a wealth of people that really want to help you, that don't even know who you are, but are supporting you more than you've ever felt supported sometimes. There's over 7,000 medical students, pre-meds, and alumni within the organization. And like you said, you can just reach out and there's always someone that's there to help you. Another reason is just because you get to take part in the organization and essentially our mission, which is always, my Region 3 director has always make sure that we understood, was to really increase the number of clinically excellent, culturally competent, and socially conscious physicians. And additionally, we are the oldest and largest organization committed to focusing on the needs of current and future underrepresented minority medical students. But like we said throughout, it's really the conference. The conferences are just a lot. It's so much that you can gain, so much networking opportunities, so much support, really getting you to really prepare for medical school. I know for me, I was going to my region's Amec, and I know I did the personal statement review, the mock interview, to really prepare me for to apply for a BSMB program. And I got in. I knew it was and it was so much different. Like I can mention like how the personal statement review. Like I know I went to like my writing center at my institution. It was okay. I was like, okay, I needed that. But when I had that one-on-one help with that medical student, she says, yeah, that's good. But let's change some things up again. It literally made it flawless. And I was like, that's why I got in. That's why I got in. And so it's like take advantage of those opportunities to really help you and really expand your networking opportunities. But like I said, your networking, you have the opportunity to network with your students, your peers, different medical students, different institutions, because again, they will be there at AMEC in person and live. You can see how they're networking and really learning about their schools to really build those relationships. A lot of current medical students within the SNMA have already mentioned how, yeah, if it wasn't for meeting this person at this admission booth, that they wouldn't have really gotten to medical school. So it really goes to show that it does help students really get into medical school through that support. Also, community service. That's essentially a lot of it is what we're here for, to really make sure that we are impacting and giving back to our communities. I know like we said, there's community service on the local level, regional, national, and through our national events such as AMEC, RMX, NLI, and things of that nature. And then scholarships, like we mentioned previously, there are going to be different scholarships that are available. Currently the application is open and it's due on March 13th. There we have Best MAPS Member of the Year, SNMA Member of the Year, Best Chapter, SNMA Chapter, and different awards that you can really gain and get scholarships for. So I do highly recommend that you all apply to just, hey, free money is free money. I'm just gonna say that. And then even the discounts that we offer within SNMA, I know even recently, one of the biggest ones that we've had was the Blueprint Scholarship, which provided a full scholarship to a Blueprint MCAT course, and it also gave you resources to AAMC resources, the AAMC Resource Hub, which had the practice exams that are really helpful, that you really do need to really prepare to take the MCAT, and you just get support from all different directions. So I would really take advantage of our discounts and our opportunities that we have yearly. And if you want to learn more, you can always reach us on our website on snma.org/join us, and it'll show you the different membership benefits that we offer. You can also always email us, and we'll include our email in the chat. Also, opportunity. So again, quarterly, we have SNMA's National Leadership Institutes. You know, we've had these hosted by Harvard, Cleveland Clinic, Johns Hopkins, and a whole lot of reputable institutions across the country. And again, these are different moments and times where you can really network and expand the support that you need throughout your journey and really get the change that you might need for your future. And then leadership, you know, there's so many leadership opportunities within the organization, whether that be on the chapter, regional, or national levels of the organization. I myself started off as a member in my local MAPS chapter. And the next thing you know, I was interested in whatever this SNMA liaison little position was. I thought, okay, I guess no one else was going to do it. And I ended up getting that position to just be on the executive board for my local MAPS chapter. Then I ended up learning about the National MAPS Committee. I ended up joining that and served in convention planning last year and currently is vice chair of regional affairs. I would have never known about this if it wasn't for my MAPS chapter. And then even Crystal, you gotta respect the people that came before you because she set the expectations basically for me to really to take off in the role because Crystal was the Snma MAPS co-director before previously I had joined. So, and then lastly, again, AMEC, it is going to be amazing. It's in April 13th through 17th. It'll be in person in Orlando, and it is one of the most impactful events that honestly you probably will go to. Because even when Stacey was mentioning the during the banquet, how you were seeing so many medical students that were graduating. Well, even last year, like I can't really imagine what the in-person one is going to be like. But last year, I was just in awe because I was like, you know, like okay, like in my mind, yeah, I'm a pre-med, I'm going to medical school. I guess I'm gonna do this. Kind of hard. But then, like when you see that reality of so many underrepresented minorities just graduating from medical, so I'm like, oh, so it's not just something I could just like think like, oh, it's gonna happen. But no, it's like an actual reality. It just becomes so impactful. So like, it's just so many opportunities like that where you really gain the understanding, like, yeah, I can do this too, and I'm going to do it. You just become so excited and motivated, and you really start to believe in yourself. But other than that, I'll let Jasmine take over. Wait, Jasmine, you're still muted.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. No, but once again, Jonathan, thanks for the top 10 reasons to join SNMA. Again, there are so many resources and opportunities that students can take advantage of while being a part of SNMA, not to mention discounted rates on all of the regional and national conferences. So that's a big reason to join SNMA as an associate member if you haven't yet. So now I wanted to move into some frequently asked questions. So when is AMEC held annually? So currently AMEC is always held the week preceding Easter. So this year it's April 13th through 17th, officially closing usually the Saturday before Easter. Next slide. Can I attend AMEC? So as you guys have probably realized throughout this presentation, AMEC is open to everyone, including medical students, pre-medical students, advisors, physicians, etc. It is not an exclusive event. It is open to all. There also will be activities for high school students, especially those who are interested in medicine or other health professions during the virtual Pipeline Academy. And I didn't mention that, but that is under the auspices of the Pipeline Mentoring Institute, which I run as a PMI fellow. And it will take place on a virtual conference platform during the actual conference. So again, AMEC is not an exclusive event. It is open to everyone who is interested in medicine or interested in supporting the mission of the SNMA. Next slide. Are attendees only allowed to attend their specified track? So again, attendees can go to different sessions and different tracks unless otherwise specified. So for example, if you're a non-traditional pre-med, like many of us are, you may be familiar with the content of workshops geared towards most pre-medical students in the pre-medical forum. And if so, you can attend sessions in the medical student track. You can also attend sessions in the general track and the skills track. The tracks are open unless otherwise specified in the conference program. Next slide. Do I have to be a current national dues paying member to attend? So no, you don't have to be a current dues paying member to attend. However, it is significantly cheaper to register as a member. So we highly encourage everyone who is not a current member to either begin or renew their membership for a discounted registration rate, plus some of the other benefits which we discussed previously. Next slide. So what is appropriate conference attire? So I know for many of you, this might be the first conference you've ever attended. And so AMEC is a business professional event. So attendees should wear business professional or business casual top and bottom. And a really good rule of thumb to go by is if it would be appropriate to wear at work or place of worship, then it would most likely be appropriate for the conference. So you'll see students in their suits, you'll see them in their professional dresses. During the board of directors banquet, that's when things get a little bit more fancy. So you'll usually see women in either semi-formal or formal attire, so like a cocktail dress, sometimes floor length gowns, it just depends, but board of directors banquet is formal. Everything else is for the most part business casual or business professional. And then the next slide will kind of talk about what are the differences between the two. And so here again, here's a graphic of the difference between business casual, business formal. Again, you're going to want to bring some suits, but also on some days, especially in Orlando, because the weather will be warmer, you might want to dress a little bit down. So having khakis or some nice professional pants or something like that would be the attire you would want to wear in a conference. Because remember, you're going to be speaking with physicians and medical school officers, and you want to make a good professional first impression with them. So this is a professional event. Definitely bring jeans and some casual wear for your downtime. Even though the conference is packed, there will be a little bit of downtime. So bring some comfortable clothes, but this is a good rule of thumb to go by for formal attire and casual attire to wear throughout the conference. Next slide. And so I would like to thank Obi Nwama, who is the Region 4 MAPS liaison to the North for the 2020-2021 administrative year last year, for working with me to create this presentation, which we did last year when AMEC was also scheduled to be at Orlando, but obviously was transitioned to a virtual platform. And again, looking forward to doing this presentation for many years to come, because we want to get our pre-medical students excited to come to AMEC and really get all of the resources and advice and guidance that they need. Next slide. So now we'll move to our question and answer session. I know some of you guys had questions in the chat, and so you can either unmute yourself and ask your question, or we can go through some in the chat as well.
I know there was a question by, forgive me if I'm saying your name incorrectly, Ephraim. Ephraim asked, are there any plans for an Easter service for those still in town?
So typically AMEC ends on Saturday at the Board of Directors banquet, and typically the next day on that Sunday, everyone usually leaves to go home. But there usually is an Easter service on that Sunday morning, because you still have National Board of Directors leaders who still have to be present on the last day of the conference for a business meeting and transition. So there is usually some type of service on that Sunday. I would check the preliminary schedule to see where they are at, but that's something that's usually a mainstay of the conference if you're going to still be there on Sunday morning.
We also have another question from Joseph. Joseph asked, so the research posters are only presented on those 4 blocks and we are free to roam around the conference the rest of the time, ?
Yeah, so anytime you're not, so if you're doing the research forum, anytime you're not, presenting, you're free to go and do anything throughout the conference. So attend any of the workshops, go to any of the meetings, do anything. You're free. It's as soon as when you have to be there and all the instructions that have to do with the research forum. After that, yeah, you're free to do whatever you like.
He also asked, what will there be during the professional exhibit? He works in healthcare management and he was wondering if it would be worth his time, though he is pre-med.
So the professional exhibits are for pre-medical students. So there's a medical school fair just for pre-medical students. There's also a professional exhibit hall for the medical students, and typically they're segregated or they're divided. So there's usually specific time for the pre-medical students to be in the exhibit hall. Then there's usually a specific time for the medical students to be in the exhibit hall for the residency fair. And that's noted on the conference schedule. Sometimes they're at the same time. It just really depends on the year of the conference, but it'll tell you this exhibitor hall is open for pre-medical students. Like it's very, very like in your face, because it's on the conference schedule. It'll tell you when it's open. It also will tell you a list of all of the schools that are at the exhibit fair. And so I'm seeing, so what sorts of exhibits are there in the professional exhibit? Usually, again, for this medical students who are looking into different residency programs, sometimes there usually will be like Kaplan or test prep companies that are also there. I think we've had like the Army who's been there before. It really just depends, but the list of all of the exhibitors and sponsors will be added to the conference handbook and to the website if they aren't there already. But no, definitely the exhibitor hall is for pre-medical students. And if you're a pre-medical student, you want to definitely take advantage of that opportunity to talk to medical schools and talk to students currently there. Are there any other questions?
I think he also asked, how do we get an appointment for Ambercast review?
I believe, so from what I remember, I think that, is there going to be a file review at the conference in Metisa and Vanya? And I know you guys can answer that since you guys are doing the convention planning coordinator for MAPS.
Yeah, so starting March 1st, we will send out an email to all registered attendees to sign up for the personal statement review, mock interviews, and then the profile reviews to sign up for a time.
Awesome. I think I also saw a question about the date of the medical school tour.
The medical school tour will be Friday, is it April 16th? And that will be from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 11 a.m., sorry.
Yeah, Friday, I think it's April 15th. Mhm.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions about AMEC, about Snma, about anything related to what we spoke about today? Hearing none, seeing none. John, is the sign up for the Amcast review first come, first serve? Our convention planning coordinators can answer that question. So Vanya and Metisa.
It is first come, first serve, but there will be multiple slots because it's open the whole day of Friday, Saturday, and a little bit of Thursday afternoon. So you definitely get a spot, but it's first come, first serve for the preferred spots.
Will this presentation be listed somewhere? Yes, we're going to work to get it on the National Snma YouTube page so that you guys can go back and watch it afterwards. But I will say, in terms of programming, Metisa and Vanya have done a fantastic job of planning the events for AMEC, for the pre-medical forum. There's going to be some new stuff, a lot of things that are typically there every year, but the conference program for this year is going to be fantastic. So again, I highly encourage you to go and attend AMEC. They put in a lot of work to make this the best conference that it can be. And there's definitely an emphasis this year of making the Orlando AMEC really special because it's the first in-person event we would have had in basically 3 years. So again, highly encourage you all to attend. I think I saw another question that just came up. What will be presented during the pre-medical opening plenary? I believe there will be a speaker, but again,
Yeah, I can answer that one. I planned all the plenaries and our keynotes as well as the banquet. So our opening plenary, that's Dr. Brooke Mobley, who I mentioned in the beginning, the director of Optimum Care and DaVita Healthcare Systems in Florida. So basically the opening plenary is just, there's 2 opening plenaries actually. So it's the general overview opening plenary for the whole AMEC. Just getting you revved up. Welcome to Orlando. Welcome to AMEC. Here's what we do, and then we have our own within MAPS. So it's basically like the introduction to like what is MAPS, what is AMEC, what is the pre-medical forum, meant to do for you, how should you navigate it, things like that. So it's basically like a fun professional prep rally in a sense, and then just to get you invigorated to have a phenomenal start to the weekend. And I wanted to mention one thing with the sign up. So the way that was scheduled, so pay attention to that on the schedule, the way that I listed it, just so there's not confusion. I know some people would like to go more than once. There's one that's for your ACOMAS and your AMCAS application. So if you want to come for that printed, that's for your work and activity section. Another one for you to practice your mock interviewing, and then another one for your personal statement. So if you want to prepare those in advance and have them printed, bring that. But when you're signing up, pay special attention to that so you don't miss the day, or come with your personal statement on the AMCAS ACOMAS day and things like that. So pay attention to the way that's written down and indicated on the forms when you fill those out.
Excellent. Any other questions? I see how long will the sessions be. from my knowledge, just looking at the schedule, most sessions usually last about 50 minutes to an hour. Or is there anything else you guys would like to add to that in terms of the time sessions of each of the workshops?
Sure, yes, they're all 50 minutes. The MCAT Academy is 4 hours. The medical school tour is 4 hours. The opening plenary is an hour and a half, and the banquet is 2 hours.
Excellent. If there are no further questions, we can move to the next slide, Jonathan. So we've listed the SNMA social media and website information. And so again, I'll make sure that this presentation is shared with our national MAPS leaders so that it can be disseminated so you guys can follow us on social media, as well as the MAPS national social media is listed as well. If you go to the next slide, Jonathan. So again, the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and website, there's information listed everywhere. So again, highly encourage you all to be following the general SNMA, as well as the MAP specific social media, because there's opportunities and information that is shared there on a regular basis. So please do make sure that you're following all of those accounts. Next slide. So I've listed the contact information for everyone. So the information for our pre-medical board member is listed at premedical@snma.org. Jonathan Truczillo, our National MAPS Vice Chair of Regional Affairs, his email is maps@snma.org. If you have any questions that are more specific to the conference itself for AMEC, or the pre-medical forum track at AMEC, definitely be sure to email mapsconvention@snma.org. And if you have any questions about any of the pipeline related programming, so any of the K-12 programming that will be at the conference, you can email me at pmi@snma.org. Again, for our high school students, there will be a virtual pipeline academy, which is an event that we've had at all of our NLIs this past year. And we're also planning an in-person event for elementary school students as well. So those are just some of the K-12 activities that will be taking place during the conference. And if you know of any high school students that are interested in medicine or anything on the pre-health track, then please do encourage them to register and sign up for the Virtual Pipeline Academy. And that information will be shared once it's released in the next few weeks. Next slide. So again, registration is open. As you guys have heard today, the hotel blocks have, I believe, sold out for the hotel, if I heard that correctly. But again, definitely make sure that you register for the conference. And you register before the price goes up, and we're in late registration, which I believe starts March 16th. So once again,
it's not sold out. I was saying our block keeps selling out. So basically the block is the anticipated number of people that we anticipate coming, that we, reserve and promise the hotel. That sells out. We've had to continue to extend it. We've extended it as far as we could. So yes, you can still register. But it might sell out again. And just to clarify that again, if you see an email or any information that says our block is sold out, that does not mean the rest of the hotel is sold out. So you can still, book your hotel, but it might not be like the discount that we have, which is the $139. That's why I was saying at the beginning, it behooves you to go ahead and do it early. You don't have to pay right away. You won't have to pay until 3 days before you arrive, but you should go ahead and register now. But if you wait, it might be like, let's say $145, $150. So we do want you to save money and get the cheapest rate possible.
Awesome. So for clarification, the discounted rate that SNMA has, those rooms are selling out, correct?
Say that one more time.
So the rates that are at the discounted rate, those are the ones that have been selling out quickly, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, awesome. So again, that's even a bigger impetus to go ahead and register if you have not registered. And book your hotel rooms, as Miracle was saying, as well as to register for the conference before the prices go up during the late registration period, which starts on March 16th, I believe. And again, if you have any questions about the conference or registering, you can visit the AMEC section of the national website listed here. And I think, Stacy, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in and ask to Methiza and Vanya. I believe I heard somewhere that there is a roommate sign up if people are looking for roommates. Is that the case? And if so, what's the process for that?
So Vanya, I don't know if you could add to this, but I don't think we are doing anything in terms of the roommate, but we can do it if you guys would like. We can create like an Excel sheet of those who need a roommate and those who have like a room already and like need someone else to share. But Vanya, I don't know if you want to add on to that, but yeah.
Yeah, the goal was to create, to link people with potential roommates just to cut down the cost of the hotel room. That hasn't been created yet, but if that's something that it looks like a lot of people need, then we will definitely create that link. I know we've had a couple people email us and we've been able to link them with other people that are going that also need roommates, but I think by Monday, we should create a link. I think we'll just go ahead and create the link and then just have people sign up that way. And then we can link other people to potential roommates for AMEC.
Awesome. Are there any other questions?
Just to add to that, I know another thing people have been doing is linking up intra regionally, just because with so many regional events that occur at AMEC, your regional meeting, and what we're going to do, you'll get more information regarding this after you sign up. But in terms of meals, they'll likely be in bubbles, people that you sign up to be around with for like every single meal, just with COVID and precautions and keeping that in mind. So most people in their region, they already know each other, but we do understand, I know a lot of us are, well, I'm in medical school now, but I was a post-bac student and a career changer like many of you are, and you might not know people in your region. So we can definitely create that, Matisa and Vanya, to build community. So you guys can find people within the post-bac community, or if you're undergrad and you don't have a community as well, but we'll find a community for you guys so you guys can link up and find a roommate and find your bubble.
Awesome. Are there any other questions before we close? Well, once again, thank you guys so much for attending our AMEC informational meeting. We hope you got a lot of great information about AMEC. We hope you're excited to register and attend. There's going to be a lot to offer for our pre-medical students at AMEC this year. Our contact information, again, is listed in the PowerPoint, which will be disseminated to our National MAPS leadership to send to students. So once again, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your time, and we hope to see you at AMEC. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you all so much. Good night, everyone.